Has got a British dick and real.
Thank you guys already clapped. That's great. That's amazing. Actually, clap louder. This is on film. Oh my God, it's Michelle. I'm just kidding. Oh, there. Thank you. Oh, you. Thank you. You didn't have to. Oh, stop. Okay. But yeah, this is my third anniversary of comedy. It was 3 years ago today that I stepped foot in Absolute Comedy in Toronto, Ontario, and did my first 5-minute set. So I'm super excited that now I'm in Los Angeles and being able to celebrate my anniversary. And I want to tell you a little bit about who's all here because we have so many different people. We have Greg, who actually almost got solar on his roof, meeting me outside at my kiosk. He did. Greg's here. I made a good enough impression that when he'd come back to the Home Depot, he's like, you know what? I want to come to your comedy show, which is great. I have Ashley. This is Ashley and her friend Jose. No, her boyfriend, not friend, boyfriend. And she's my sister's friend from high school, and she moved to Los Angeles, and so she decided to come, which is great. We have some comedians that brought their friends, which is really cool, because it's always nice when they do that. We have Andrew, who came. I met him at a board game night, and we played Settlers of Catan, and I won, and so that left a really good impression, I think. So he decided to come. We have David, who I met at a roller derby game for my friend, because my friend Daphne's here, who invited me to said roller derby game, because she plays, and I know her from university, and now she's here as an urban planner who helped me get my work permit to live here, which is amazing, and she brought some friends. We have somebody from the Home Depot in the kitchen department, and I talk to him like every day, and I sent him one of my YouTube videos of my performance, and I think he liked it enough to come, which is great. Oh, we have someone from Reddit. Do you guys know what Reddit is? Some of you guys probably know. Yeah, so I posted in Reddit a few times about just doing comedy and just moving here and stuff, so a guy came with one of his dates, and did I miss it? Oh, we have Tay. Tay's a security guard at the Home Depot, and she's super nice. No, she's one of the nicest women I've ever met in my entire life. Sometimes I'll just be standing at this kiosk in like 30-degree heat. That's a Canadian term there. 30 degrees Celsius heat, and she'll just bring me a big gulp and a hot dog, and because she knows I buy them every day for myself because I'm on a budget. $2.18 after tax. It's great, and she even knew that I liked Fanta Orange. So that's pretty fucking sweet of her. And who else do we have? I think I've hit just about everyone. Oh wait, not these two people. Where did you? Oh, Randy, you came. Okay, Randy, he's a guy that I know also from Solar City, but he's a better salesperson than me. He's the one that goes and does the at-home visits to try to get people. He's the closer. So that's good that he came. I'm excited. He came here from Vegas, and he's rocking the show. And he came with a lovely lady. And I think, have I missed anybody? Oh, Kevin from Gardens here. Oh, yeah, you can. Oh, Calvin, that's right. Calvin, I know from Home Depot as well. This is great. I'm glad there's so many people here from Home Depot. You're going to know so much more about my butthole, and it's going to be super awkward. Oh, cool. Come on in, lovely people. Excellent. Okay, I just wanted to kind of go, oh, my God, I have more. Christine's also here from Home Depot. Fuck yeah. I need to, send you all gift baskets and stuff like that. But anyways, it's great. And they see me, obviously, as, a salesperson outside of Home Depot, and it's great for them to actually see me in my element, which is kind of nice. Okay, so I thanked everybody. That's good. Okay. I'm a really weird person. I take the bus everywhere. That's not a weird thing. That's a good thing. But I have a bus pass. And I forgot my bus pass at home. This was really late at night, and I was doing an open mic, and I was like, shit, I can't believe I forgot my bus pass. And I was wearing heels, and I Googled it, and it was over an hour to get home. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is gonna happen. I'm gonna have to walk home in these heels. So I just sat down at the bus stop dejected, and then the bus came, and instinctively I just got on the bus. And I said to the bus driver, look, I forgot my bus pass at home, but I have a mint. And he's like, does my breath smell bad? And I was like, no, it doesn't smell bad. I just wanted to make you laugh so you'd let me on the bus. And he's like, get on the bus. I was like, yay, finally a nice bus driver in Los Angeles. They're a dime a dozen. They really are. Anyways, and then a few days later, I'm on Sunset again, waiting to get on the bus. And then the bus driver comes, and it's the same fucking bus driver. And I was like, dude, oh my God, you're so great. And he's like, yeah, do you remember me? I was like, of course. I was like, I've written a joke about you. I've been telling that story about the mint all over town. He's like, oh my God, that's amazing. He's like, I'll totally come to your show. And then he didn't, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that he let me on the bus, and then he also messaged me a schedule and time and said, I'll give you some free passes. So that was actually pretty dope. Yeah, he's gonna he's going to be bad at his job for me. That's a good thing. Okay. Okay, so I work at Solar City, and I want to tell you quickly the story about how I got the job at Solar City. So I love doing comedy, and I was on this comedy tour going across Canada. And so I called my boyfriend, who I knew was a bit tepid to come to America. And I was like, you know what, Dean, if you don't want to come to America, it's fine. Like, I can make it work in Canada. And he's like, you know what? I'd go to the West Coast. And I was like, oh my God, right? So then I was like, as soon as I got home, I started looking at jobs on the West Coast, and I saw this posting for Solar City. So I uploaded my resume, and I had 300 characters to explain why I wanted to work at Solar City. And it's like, oh my God, I'm going to nail this, right? I was like, I'm Canadian, but I'm worth it. And I was like, yeah, channeled my L'Oreal commercial, and like, I'm driven and I'm passionate and all this stuff, right? And so I hit submit, and it's like error over 300 characters. And I was like, what? And then I took off a sentence, and it's like error over 300 characters. I took off another sentence, and like, I got frustrated. And so finally I stripped it down to one sentence, which was, I know I have that fire in my belly that you're looking for. And I hit submit, and it went through, and I was like, oh my fucking God, I'm never going to hear from this company again, right? But then 2 hours later, I got an email from them, and they're like, we loved your application. Would you consider relocating to Southern California? And I was like, what the fuck? But they probably got like 100 applications that were like, I'm driven, I'm passionate, I'm hardworking. And then they got to mine, they're like, one sentence, what does it say? I know I have that fire in my belly that you're looking for. The confidence to write something that absurd, right? We're going with the Canadian for sure. And I got the job, so off I came. And the thing about the timing is, do you ever like find like when it rains it pours sometimes with good opportunities? So just when I was getting this opportunity, I actually got another opportunity from a company that was thinking about sponsoring another comedy tour of mine. The first company that sponsored my tour was Westtown Mazda. It's like a car dealership. So they gave me like 10 grand to go across the country. I don't really know why, but I think they were just excited about how excited I was about comedy. So anyway, so I was like, who's going to sponsor my next tour? And then I thought about it, and I went to this one company. It was like this big kind of like big Canadian company, multi-million-dollar company, and I was like, how am I going to talk to the right people? So I went into their head office, and I was like, hey, I want someone to sponsor my comedy tour, and I got a business card of one of the marketing directors. So I email him, he never gets back to me. I leave a voicemail, he never gets back to me. I leave a second voicemail, and he gets back to me and was like, okay, Michelle, I'm going to pass you down to our communications girl. And I was like, down the chain? That's not where I want to go. So I looked at how his email was structured, and it was like jsmith@company.ca. And I was like, all right, who's the CEO of this company? Google it. All right, there's his name. Let's try the same thing. dbaker@company.ca. And I wrote, hey, I wrote this pitch, right? And I sent it, and it didn't bounce back, but I never heard from the person. So about 2 weeks later, I just send it to the CEO again, being like, hey, I haven't forgotten about you. Have coffee with me. Talk business, Michelle. And like 5 minutes later, I get this email from him being like, oh, I'm taking my mom out for like Mother's Day, but I'll give your proposal a read. A couple days later, he gets back to me, and he's like, you know what? I talked to my team, and we just don't have the budget to sponsor you. Like, best of luck. I was like, there's no way this multi-million-dollar company doesn't have the budget to sponsor me. Their ads are all over the subway, all over the streetcars, all over the Gardner Expressway. I was like, there's no way. So I just wrote back, and I started the sentence to the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. Look, Dan. Yeah. And I was like, what's the worst thing that can happen? You meet with me, and you like me, and we do something amazing. Or you meet with me, and you don't like me, and nothing changes. And I was like, if a small dealership in Toronto can afford to sponsor me, I know you can. Aren't you the one that makes decisions? Michelle. Right? Just threw in that little dig right there. Why? Because this man is not used to anyone throwing him digs. It's been a long time since a dig's come his way, right? And so he wrote back to me. And he's like, Michelle, you have that fire in your belly that I'm looking for. And so he's like, I like you. You remind me a lot of myself. He's like, however, like, what do you say? You cross the line of decorum and respect. But this is not the end of the conversation. And he agreed to meet with me at his company. And so we're sitting side by side. And I was like, man, I'm so excited of the prospect of you sponsoring like a tour of mine. But I just got offered this job in California, and like that's where I want to move. And so we're walking back to the elevator, and he's like, you know what? I don't want to sound like your father here right now, but if you have the opportunity to move to California, don't you think you should take it? And when I got back to my apartment, I said, thank you so much for meeting with me. I'm going to move to Los Angeles. And I accepted the job at Solar City. And that's why I'm here today. So it's pretty fucking crazy, right? Isn't that a crazy story? Yay! Thank you. Thank you for clapping at the end of my story. I like that. I know this is stand-up, but I thought as the host and the headliner of a show, I'd started off a little bit slow. I'm already at 10 minutes. Holy shit. Okay, I'll say some things that are funnier. Okay, so when I moved here, I didn't know anybody, other than like Daphne, of course, my friend, and Ashley, both of which have hung out with me, which is very, very nice. Like, I've definitely sent some, like, I'm lonely, please hang out with me things, and they're always happy to oblige, which is lovely. Anyway, but I wanted to find a roommate so that my cost would be down for an apartment, so I went on Craigslist. Has anyone looked for a roommate on Craigslist before? Oh, isn't that the fun? That's just the most fun you can have, honestly, as a person. Okay, and some people, they're so crazy, they can't keep how crazy they are from the Craigslist post, okay? I'll give you an example. A woman's like, hi, I'm looking for a roommate. Just to let you know, I like to display weird art of vagina and period-related things. And I have messy tendencies. And I was like, wow, those sentences are way too close together. And also, like, what is period art? Is it like a little tree with tampons dangling from it? Like, what the fuck is going on in this woman's home? I'm terrified. Okay, and this is another one that I thought was funny. It's like, hey, we're two dudes living in an apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment, looking for a third dude to help split the costs because we moved in and almost immediately realized we couldn't afford the rent between the two of us, but we're stealing HBO Go. And I was like, like, like I do want to watch HBO Go. Like, that was actually a pull, but like, it's been so hard for me to find an apartment, to get approved for an apartment. Like, you almost have to give away your firstborn child to get an apartment in Los Angeles. They want your social security number. They want your bank account information. They want references. Where are you working? They want an application fee. Like, how the hell did these two guys that were broke get a nice, 2-bedroom apartment in downtown Los Angeles? Okay, that was a bit of a ranty, but anyways. The third one, the person said that they were Christian. And I don't mind if you're Christian, but if you have to state that you're Christian, you're too Christian for me, right? You guys feel me on that? Okay, good. I'm almost at the end here. Okay, so I realized I just want to make sure my timing's good, because it's like in Toronto, I was getting up to 40-minute sets, which was like, it was incremental, right? You do 5s, then you do 10s, then you do 15s, and then you slowly over 3 years get to 40. And when you move here, you have to start from scratch. So I've done 2-minute sets. Most of my sets are 3-minute sets, 5, 7 if I'm lucky. So it's like hard for me to kind of get back into the rhythm of a longer set. So I appreciate you guys like taking this ride with me. But anyways, I realized that I'm a bit of a sexual cactus. Okay. I'll explain. It took me 2 weeks. I work with half of these people, and they're going to see me tomorrow, and it's going to be lovely. And they're going to be, oh, she's a sexual cactus. Interesting. Okay, because it took me 2 weeks of living here before I got horny enough to masturbate. 2 full weeks. I don't think any man can ever say something like that, right? So I'm finally horny enough to masturbate, don't have lube, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go pick up some lube at Ralph's. And a guy came up to me after I said this joke one time and was like, you know, I had you until you said you bought lube at Ralph's, and they don't sell lube at Ralph's. And I was like, well, I went to Ralph's and I bought lube. I didn't fucking lie. I just like to buy lube and milk at the same time because I'm a multitasker, okay? So shut your fucking mouth about that. Anyways, so I get home, and I'm like, all right, let's fucking go on redtube.com. I don't have any porn on my computer, so I'm just like, all right, let's do some mainstream shit. Let's filter. We're going to filter it by monthly most viewed, right? Because I wanted normal porn. I just wanted 2 people fucking. I don't need MILFs. I don't need kids. I don't need any weird shit. I don't want to go into the depths of porn. I just want 2 people fucking, okay? So then I'm looking through the videos. I'm like, okay, that's not, no, okay, no. And like, there's a reason why women watch a lot less porn, okay? It's because someone like Ron Jeremy became a porn star, okay? Do you know what I'm talking about? Ron Jeremy became a porn star, pinnacle porn star. And like, imagine if porn was like Roseanne Barr, and a bunch of guys that looked like George Clooney, and then you'd be like, what the fuck do girls see in porn? What the fuck? I watch it and I feel insecure. What the fuck is with porn? I fucking hate porn, okay? So there's the perspective on why women don't watch as much porn, okay? So I'm flipping through all these goddamn videos of 19-year-old gorgeous women and Ron Jeremy lookalikes, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna push that laptop aside. And I closed my eyes and I touched myself to the thought of my boyfriend fucking me. That's what I did. And after I came, it's sweet, but only briefly. Because after I came, I was upset. Because I was like, man, if I went into Dean's search history, I have a feeling it's not going to say flat-chested brunette misses her boyfriend. I just have like a little bit of an inkling. There's probably some gangbangs in there, and it's gonna make me real upset. Okay, so all right. So this is the last joke I'll say before I bring up your first guest. I did a show, or I do open mics. I don't do shows. I do open mics. So thank you so much for coming to my show. But anyways, and it was at the Comedy Store at 11 o'clock on a Sunday. So, and male comedians, especially the older ones, they have like a radar for like new young female comedians that have entered the scene. They're like, a freshie, oh my God, a freshie. She might not have had sex with a comedian yet and realized it was a terrible idea. So I wander in and boom, I'm a beacon of that, okay? And he's like, hey, I just came from the main room. Like, okay, that's cool. And he's like, where are you from? I was like, I just moved here from Toronto. You have a boyfriend? Yeah, I do. He lives in Toronto. Oh, I bet you're gonna cheat on your boyfriend with a comedian. Oh, thanks. That's great. That comedian might even be me. And I was like, oh, God, this is the worst pickup line I've ever heard. It's like, oh, you look like a woman with loose morals. Like, what the fuck? And so I told this joke one time on stage, and a comedian at the back was like, hey, was it that guy? And I was like, oh, my God, it was. He's like, I've seen him do that line like 100 times. I'm like, does it ever work? And he's like, it worked one time, so now he won't stop. And I want to find the girl that fucked him with that line and just shake her and be like, why did you do this? Why did you fuck him? Because we're all doomed now because of it. But I mean, really, I should shake him, though, so it's not a double standard. Okay, so this first comedian that I'm bringing up to this stage, okay, she's this lovely lady, and when I first moved here, I was terribly, terribly homesick, ridiculously homesick in my first month, and to the point where I was like searching one-way tickets back to Toronto secretly and not telling anybody about it. And then I saw her at a show, and she was by herself, and I was like, hey, my name's Michelle. I just moved here. She's like, my name's Catherine. I just moved here. And I was like, oh. And then about a week later, I saw her at a show again, and we kind of exchanged like Facebook or whatever. And then, yeah, I just had this really like low time. And I got this message from her out of the blue being like, hey, do you want to hang out with me tonight and go to a show? And it was
on my floor. Your third anniversary, you're supposed to get, oh, there's a tissue on it. You're supposed to get leather. So I found this. And now it will be yours at the end of my set if we're still friends. So like just to let you know who I am, in the past week, I turned down sex twice with 2 different people to go home and watch Frasier. So, like, that's just where we got some Frasier fans. Yeah. I was like, your penis, but, like, Marty Crane doing it for me. So, that's where I'm at. Ladies, I have a question for you, or gentlemen, like, if you guys just go to the gynecologist for fun. Anyone ever revenge steal from their gynecologist? Anyone do that? No? Because it's like if you're going to judge me on how many sexual partners I've had in the past year, I'm going to take this bed sheet and my copay and cotton balls. That's what I'm going to do. Just because I feel like it's owed. Like, don't judge me. She was like, that's a true fact. She was like, wait, no, I just meant this past year. Not, how old are you? Not your whole life. I was like, fuck you. Fuck you. Get me that STD test, obviously. It's I'm not going to tell you what the results were. They were fun. Does anyone notice how difficult it is to have sex when you need to poop? No, you guys, no sex poopers out there. It's really hard. There's a lot of clenching, a lot. And when like you're single, you're like having sex with new people, and it's just like, can you go to the bathroom? Can you like dump a deuce? And then like, cause then it would be better for both of you in the end. Just something like, let me know what you feel, gentlemen, if that's okay. For a lady to do in your apartment. Speaking of poop, I wish that it was socially acceptable to post pictures of your bowel movements on Instagram. Come on, guys, because like, oh, you're proud of that salad you just prepared, Janet? I'm proud of this thing that my body prepared, and it came out of me, and I survived it, okay? Hashtag poop pics. Hashtag I have really impressive poops. I can tell you guys are a poop crowd. I can tell. I like it. I told my friend that, and she was like, that's really gross. And I was like, no, I want to start an Instagram of like hot girls shit. Like foxy lady poops. And she was like, okay. She challenged me. How are you going to determine if the girl's attractive enough? Right? That's a thinker. I was like, every girl's attractive enough. Hashtag feminism. Hashtag I poop for pink. Yes. Topical. You guys hear about the Dalai Lama? He is the spiritual, that's the end. He's the spiritual leader of the Tibetan people. He recently made some unhelpful comments. So during a BBC interview, someone was like, hey, Dalai Lama, do you think that the next Lama could be a woman? And he was like, yes, but only if she's very, very attractive. Because otherwise, no use. What? Llama, I want to like you because of like, you know, like peace and shit. But I also want to like punch you in your face because that comment just makes women objects. It just values women based on if they're attractive or not. And I think we've established I eat, I breathe, I poop. I'm a person. Whether or not if I'm pretty. Do you guys know about Matt Damon? He's an actor. That's the end. Bye, guys. No, so he recently made unhelpful comments also about gay people, gay actors. He was like, stay in the closet. You'll be better that way. He apologized, but, like, we know where he's at, you know. It reminded me of my friend Laura. I'm going to end on this story. I think we all have a friend, Laura. She's, like, super liberal. And she's really down to earth. But it's like, do gay people have to be so gay in public? You know what I mean? Like, do you have to throw it in my face? Like, get married, but in private. And at first you want to punch Laura in her stupid face. But then I was like, no, you know what, Laura, I've got gay friends. I get it. We go out, and those dudes don't try to stick their penises in any vaginas. I get it. It's like when I go out with my black friends, they show up, not white at all. Didn't even try. So you guys seem to be into butts. Fun fact, this is it. Fun fact, your mouth hole is dirtier than your butthole. Your mouth is dirtier than your butt. So I say, instead of kissing each other, we should be giving each other rim jobs. Rim jobs. That's it. Thank you. Thanks, Michelle.
Yay! You're too pretty to be saying rim jobs to a room full of men. Rim job. I've never had a rim job. But my boyfriend and I, we're just Well, whatever. I'll talk more about our sex life later, but we're not adventurous enough to lick each other's buttholes. We're not there. Anyways, I'm pretty tiny, and I'm a really quick walker. And every time like someone's walking like behind me, and I'll look behind myself, like 100% of the time that person could kick my ass, like 100% of the time. So I'm always a bit nervous. But whenever I'm walking quickly behind someone else, they look around, and then the sense of relief on their face is just like, oh, thank God. I could one punch kill her for sure. And I'm just so sad that I can't feel that ever. Okay. I'm not going to do a ton of time between people because I'm going up at the end. Our next comedian, I saw him at a few open mics, and he actually works at the Home Depot. So this will be a special treat for maybe the people from the Home Depot as well. So I think you're in for something. Give it up for Ricardo Rosario, everybody.
Imagine lights up, lights down. Uh, 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 Mert, 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 Mert. You obviously didn't understand that. You speak English. I can tell you didn't understand the local patois that I created on this island. I'm the only one that speaks this language, apparently. And look, buddy, if you've come to rescue me, you can go back on that raft where you came from. I rather much like it here, okay? I I've made several wives of these inanimate objects. You're welcome to I will not judge, okay? but just know that they're mine. You can't you can't do the stuff that I do on the mainland. Okay? A little bit of a freak on this island, but I like it. So if you don't mind that, I think we can get along, partner. I think we got off on the wrong foot. I don't know if I scared you. I don't know if you're. I'm ticklish. I don't know. Oh, that cracked a smile, huh? Well, we'll get to know each other, huh? On that note, thank you. Thanks.
Keep it going for Ricardo. I know his comedy's a little strange. I will admit that, but I didn't know if you guys would like be on board or like not on board. And I was like, fuck it, I'm willing to give him a shot because it's like it's fucking good. I don't know. Because you have to think, we go to open mics every single night, and this is what happens every single night at an open mic. A lonely white dude that masturbates all the time gets on stage and is like, I'm really sad and I'm really lonely and I just fucking masturbate all the time. And you're like, okay. And then the next one's that person. And then the next one's that person. And after you see 10 people say the same fucking thing, Ricardo comes on stage with something out there. And I'm like, you know what? Fucking yes. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I'm gonna bring up your next act. I like to have this guy I met at a few open mics, and every time I would see him perform, I was just like, fuck it, like I really like you. You're real insightful and real interesting. And I asked if he would do the show, and he did. So I'm very, very happy to have him on the show. Give it up for Justin Blake, everybody. Justin Blake.
How nervous are you guys right now? Open micer, another one, you guys. Here. What's up, Home Depot? How we doing? Fucking Home Depot in this bitch. I'm shocked for this to be like a Home Depot crowd. That there's so few Mexicans in here. Never. It's like the corporate side of Home Depot. What's going on? I feel like this is. But I'm glad you guys came out. I'm really happy you guys are here. Because I almost didn't make it, you guys, and be honest. Had a really good parking spot in my apartment that I was like, fuck, should I leave? I recently turned 30, you guys. It's staying alive. And it's weird because I don't know my body anymore. I got a different, like I hit 30 and my body changed. Like I used to have like a really strong sex drive when I was a young man. You know what I'm saying? I had it. Always wanted it. And now my sex drive is like as weak as my arms look. Like it's very opposite of what I've always known. Sucks. And like I don't feel like I took advantage of my youth all the way, you know, like I've only had sex with 4 girls. 30 years. 4 girls. That's my whole life. And I just can't help but feel like I've just let this light skin go to waste. You know what I'm saying? Like this light skin. I'm like Peter Parker if he got bit by the spider and just stayed Peter Parker. Like, nah, I don't need that blessing. I'm all right. 2015's been a weird year, right? 2015 is crazy. Like everything has changed in 2015. Like people can be born in the wrong body now. You guys, it's a real thing. Like women can be born with penises and men can be born with vaginas. Like sex is about to get really become like a really awkward game of guess who. You know what I'm saying? Like about to get weird in a little while. Like it really like kicked off with like Caitlyn Jenner. And I'm be honest, you guys, like I don't like the way the media covered that whole story. Because like Caitlyn came out and they were like, this is beautiful. This is natural. Good for her. She can finally be who she really is, you know? And then like 3 days later, a white woman named Rachel is living the life of a black woman. Like, that's horrible. You can't do that. Like, what's that? You can't do that. And I'm like, I kind of feel like between the two, like Rachel made the more lateral move. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like Rachel made the more lateral move. It's also like strange because it's apparently now it's tough to be a straight white guy. You guys, it's not easy for them anymore, you know? It's not easy. Like they used to be at the top of the food chain, you guys. They could say anything. They could do anything. And now like they've just been reduced to their only reaction when spoken to in public is just like that's, that's not no opinion. Like it's so bad for straight white guys that just to have an opinion in public, they're gonna have to pretend to be gay from this point on. Like that's every opinion's gonna and then snaps. I it's also though like amazing right now. Like this is the best time to be black in the history of America. We're like the Clippers right now, you guys. Like this is this is the hottest we've ever been. You know, we're doing all right. But the reason black people are so frustrated still is because it's still easier to be white. Like even though it's still you guys still winning. Um, was that just like a white guilt thing of like, "Ugh," or is it just bad on my part? You know, I'm only an open micer, you guys. Sorry. um, but it's also I think the craziest thing of the year though has got to be the fact that Bill Cosby's a rapist. You guys, like that. Who would have ever? Bill. But I will say this. I will say this, you guys. Like you got to think. Bill Cosby was born in the 1930s when a black man could be killed just for looking a white woman in the eyes. So the fact that you fast forward to today and he's accused of raping over 40 and he's still alive, progress, you guys. Progress. Moving forward. Progress can be uncomfortable, can't it? Oh man, that's bad. You guys have kind of been up and down with me. Let's see if you're on board with this. See what we got going here. I myself have made a lot of changes this year. You know, like I finally come around on gay rights, you guys. I'm for it. It's about time, you know. But I'm for it, not for like, you know, moral reasons or anything. None of that hack shit. I'm for gay rights because I'm an environmentalist, you guys. And the worst thing that's ever happened to the environment is us, people. And gay people don't make people, you guys. Like they're so great that they'll actually take care of like the people nobody else wants, like the kids. Like they're like the recyclers of people, you guys. Like that's amazing. That's amazing, you guys. Like I say, my new motto is gay sex is green sex, you guys. That's what I'm trying to get going, you guys. Trying to get going. But racism is still like racism's like a weird thing now, you know? Like it used to be easy back in the day. Like for our parents, they had it easy. You know, it's just like they're black, they're white, don't like them. You know what I'm saying? But now we have to like, you know, be around each other. And like I was actually in a situation so racist that I had to respect it. Sounds weird, right? I had to respect it. I was walking down the street at night, and I was walking behind this white girl, right? And I could tell when she noticed I was behind her, she got a little nervous, and she started to walk faster. And then she was like, "There's no way I can beat him," right? So she just stopped, and she was like, "So sorry, but could you please not walk behind me? It just makes me too uncomfortable." And like at first, I was offended, you know what I'm saying? Like, this racist bitch. But then I thought about it, you know, and I'm like, I also don't feel comfortable with niggas I don't know walking behind me at night. Like I can't have higher expectations for her than myself. Like, that's not fair. That's not fair. Oh man, that's bad. It's also like now it's tough because like I'm single for the first time in my life. Not the first time in my life. I was a very attractive child, and it just no, but I'm single for the first time in a long time, and I have to like date now. And the only way you can date now is online. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't like dating online because to me, online dating is just for like really attractive people. You know what I'm saying? And like me, I need like a second to explain myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not not that guy. Like a picture doesn't do me justice. It just says like 1,000 of the wrong words in my case. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me see if I had anything else. You guys have been so nice to this open micer. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. That's it for me, guys. Thank you so much.
Keep it going for Justin, everybody. I loved him. I love him. Okay, and he mentioned Bill Cosby, so it reminded me of something. Okay, so in Toronto, we have this thing called the Toronto Stand-Up Community, and it's a closed Facebook group, okay, of only comedians, just a pile of comedians. And you know, like the people that kind of comment on like YouTube videos and like they're really like negative, angry people. Imagine like all those people together is like what the Toronto Stand-Up Community Facebook group consists of, right? It can be a real toxic place, but you're oftentimes just eating popcorn, looking at everyone's like anger and comments and yelling at each other. And then one day, a beautiful thing happened. Someone commented, a person who'd been around comedy for about 10 years, and they're like, "Hey, have you ever on like a Friday or Saturday night gotten a message from this one comedian asking him to send you footage of your feet because you might win a contest for a free Xbox?" And then a few people commented being like, "Yeah, like 3 years ago, I made a footage of my feet for that guy." And then someone's like, "Yeah, 2 years ago, I did that." And so that comedian posted on his Facebook wall and was like, "You know what? Haters are gonna hate." Okay, that was his first response. Haters gonna hate, okay? But then the 5th, the 10th, the 15th, the 30th comic over a span of 10 years commented that they'd sent this guy footage of his feet for the promise of an Xbox. And then the hate is gonna hate Facebook status got removed and was replaced with everybody makes mistakes. And the good thing was, though, he had more honesty than Bill Cosby did. But also the funny part is he knew so much what could get him the feet footage was just a bunch of broke comedians that just really wanted to play on Xbox, you know, like that. There could be no greater prize to the people. Oh, it was so great. It was so great. But anyways, we're gonna bring up our last comic. This guy as well. I seen him around town. And he's really, really great. And he had me on one of his shows out by UCLA, and it was fun. And it was the only 15-minute set I got to do in my time here to help prep for the show. So he's a really sweet guy, and I think you're going to really love him. Give it up for John Davies, everybody.
She's been really kind about the show. So she came to that show. That's the only night no one showed up. She doesn't have a car yet, so she bussed from Glendale to Westwood. And was just like, great. It's just an empty black box, like 46-seat theater. How are you guys doing? Nice. Good. You seem that way. I want to tell you, this is a funny thing I do. Like when I'm walking around now, I used to people watch a lot, but now I kind of trash watch. Like I like to look at like the stuff that's on the ground and think about like how it got there and like what that means about the person who put it there, you know. Give you an example. I saw the other day a Magnum condom wrapper. I thought like that has to be the only way you can litter and brag at the same time. You know what I mean? Like it's weird information to get out of nowhere. Like someone doesn't care about the environment and they have a big dick. Okay, you know, like super random. I don't know. I'm thinking I'm gonna start buying Magnums, but not for the condom, just for the wrapper, so I can like accidentally leave it on the back seat of my car. Your friends get in and they have to like quietly stomach this new information about you. It's like, oh, okay. Guy's a big dick. All right, that's my friend. I don't know what else. I'm really excited for driverless cars. Yeah, woohoo! One person who really loves driverless cars. No, I'll have kids, and like when they get their license, I'll be like, cool, robots driving you around now. You know, like no big deal. I'm thinking like, will we still have road rage though? You know what I mean? Like, like it's just like, hey buddy, upgrade. You know what I mean? What are you driving? 10.2.1, asshole. You know. I've had an interesting year. It's funny. So I've been teaching on and off forever, but I taught in the inner city this year for about 4 months. And it was weird because I was like one of 2 white male teachers, and they made everything I did about my race. Like one morning, one of my favorite students said to me, hey, mister, I'm really hungry. I didn't eat breakfast. Do you eat breakfast? I was like, yeah, I ate breakfast. He's like, yeah. White people always beating breakfast. There's no way he woke up thinking like with that stereotype in his head. You know what I mean? There's no way like when he eats breakfast, he's like, man, do I feel white right now? You know what I mean? The other funny part about it, though, is like if you said brunch, that makes complete sense. You know, the white people always beating brunch. You know. No, teenagers are really funny though because they say things that sound really adult, and then like always throwing something small to remind you they're still kids. Like I overheard this kid saying like, yeah, I was going to jump this fool, but my mom said be home by 7. I was like, do you guys think doctors ever get mad when they hear stories of perseverance? You know, like what? No, well, it's like you know, like they do that. They do that interview thing where like they interview the family members, and the family members are like, well, the doctor only gave him 3 months, but God damn it, he proved those doctors wrong. It's like, the doctor didn't want you to die. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the best piece of advice. Person's sitting at home, and they're like, oh, thank God, still alive. That doctor was wrong. And they hear a knock at the door. Dr. Stevens, what are you doing? Poof, poof, poof. I gave you 3 months. You know? So, my girlfriend tells me she wants me to be more confident. I'm like, no, you don't. Because if I'm more confident, I'd leave you for saying that shit to me. You know what I mean? But here's the confident people are never good people. You know what I mean? If you want a good friend, like make sure your friends hate themselves. Because like they'll like drive you to the airport, they'll like buy you things. You know what I mean? Like you need. Like I had friends for a while. They were making money, like donating sperm, you know, like just like get extra cash. And I felt like I couldn't do that in good conscience because I knew out there somewhere there'd be this family that couldn't conceive that was like likable and athletic, and they just get this piece of shit little kid you know, just like like I'm gonna be there like you are my son, like you know. Are any you guys nerds? Any nerds in here? Like yes, nice, proud nerd. I really love Magic cards. I don't know if any of you play Magic cards. Been playing since 5th grade. There's one real nerd game I haven't gotten like super hardcore into, which is D&D. Which like yeah, some nods. Yeah, D&D. I know what that is. That's good. Yeah, I'm glad. No, I just think it's funny because like, like some of it makes sense. Like you're gonna play a troll warrior or whatever your character is, and so you need to know what your strength is. You roll up your strength. I have 16 strength, and that way, when you like run into a boulder while you're playing the game, you're like, "See, I have 16 strength. I can move the boulder." And everyone's like, "Okay, dexterity, how flexible you are, that makes sense." You want to know how much endurance you are. I have an intelligence score of 17, whatever. But then there's a charisma score. How does that? Why is that in there? It makes it like I don't like. How do I? I don't even know how to explain. Like isn't that just up to you as the player? You know what I mean? Like if you're a likable person, then you'll get more shit when you play the game. You know what I mean? I just think the people who made the game, one of them was really unlikable, and they lost a lot of promotions. And so when they made this game, they're like, no, my character has charisma. It's also it's stupid because why like like you're like, oh, I play D&D. Like, oh, what kind of character do you have? Oh, I have a warrior. He actually is like a pretty shitty fighter, but he's super likable. You know, like it doesn't make any sense. Another thing I think is really weird is like I feel like I don't really know anyone who's been like okay, past tense. I don't know anyone who's died who's been buried in a graveyard. I think graveyards are very strange, especially living in a city, because like I don't know. There's all this like, who dies, and they're like, when I die, I just want to take up community space. You know what I mean? Like just like double park me in a field somewhere. Like someone can stub their toe on me or something. Like I think when I die, I'm gonna be buried in a graveyard, but I want my tombstone to be a basketball hoop. So. So I just feel, like a family plot where it's just like a pole, and a volleyball net or something, and people can actually like can actually go there and do something. I've gotten since college, I've gotten a lot more into listening to rap, and like I've noticed this trend on albums. There's every rap album has one song that intros with "We recording," you know, like they didn't know. like just like, oh, you're recording. I'm just happen to have a rap song written down right here, you know. Like being interviewed later, they're like, yes, we're very blessed. We just went triple platinum. Also very blessed. The album was recorded entirely by accident. You know. This is my impression of Eminem. I'm so mad at women, but I really like my daughter, but I'm so mad at women. Okay. That is the worst that joke's ever done, but that's okay. That's okay. You guys don't like Eminem? It's okay. Good night. No. Another thing I do is I like to sing to myself, but whenever I do, I replace the correct lyrics with what sounds more logical to me in my head. Like there's old Nelly Furtado song goes, I'm like a bird. I have a hollow bone mass. Right? Just like a little more. Work all day, drink all night, habitual cycle. Is this love? Is this love? Is this love? No, it's methane. I thought I told you that we won't stop. I thought I told you that we won't stop. So who's liable? Let's see. Big closer. I don't know. What have I not talked about tonight? You guys like, oh, I thought that guy was going to talk about pudding or something like that. Like, so, deep regrets. No. Oh, fuck. You mean that undeveloped joke I said the other day? That's a good. Okay, here. Let's try this out. Okay. Yes. All right, everyone, get ready for your. This is like going. If you've ever been to a late night taping, they like badger you into laughing, so it's like totally not fun. Just, no joke about that. Just another story. There's a lot of like, all right, you fucking people, you're gonna laugh, right? Hated it. Anyway, No, I think it's really funny that men always overplay their like their knowledge about something, and women always way underplay it. Like I was at Burning Man. I was talking to this girl on a fuzzy bus, which is something you do at Burning Man, and like she did some coke off of some random dude's like arm, and then she's like, "Huh, funny. I don't really feel high or anything." I was like, well, you know, maybe that's because, like, you know, you're so, like, sleepless that, like, down regulation with your neurons or something. I had taken one biology class. And she's like, yeah, that's possible. And then like, an hour later, she tells me she's a pharmacist. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You made me look like an idiot back there? Like, yeah. Well, there you go. That's a new joke, right? That closed on a new joke. Okay.
Everybody. Yeah. Oh man, but it's true. Like, it's really because as comedians, like, the process of being a comedian is so strange because, okay, so you write all your jokes and you perfect them and you get them better, and you're like, okay, maybe I should just keep trying to make this joke better and better because you know it's worked a few times and you don't have a lot of jokes in your repertoire, right? But then like, I kind of want to explain it like. But then you're like, you've built one foundation and you're trying to build a house on that foundation with more and more floors. But your foundation is like year one comedian. So that foundation isn't very good. And so eventually you have to take the plunge and be like, no, I'm going to build a new foundation and start building floors on that. And then that whole series of jokes is going to be better. And then you do it again and again and again. And eventually you got to shed the shitty first year foundation to keep building new jokes. And so he was nervous to close on a new joke, but that joke was really good and insightful, but it's hard for us to kind of start from scratch. Like, that's the scary thing about stand-up, is because you know at first it's going to be a bit rough, but you write the best jokes the longer you've been doing comedy because you figure out how to write better jokes. You know what I mean? Anyways, that was real structural. That wasn't a joke. It was more about just like how comedy is so scary writing a new joke. It is. It's terrifying, but you know, you got to keep doing it. And like, I had a lot of jokes that I had in Canada that I was like, how many of them am I going to bring to Los Angeles? And I just started writing new material. And I was like, shit, am I going to just blow? Am I going to come to Los Angeles and everyone's like, wow, Michelle is like super shit? But I was like, no, I've been doing this for 3 years. Like, let me give it a go. So that's what I'm going to do. I have like a kind of like a weird mash of jokes that I'm going to tell you guys. And they don't really flow super great, but they're my new jokes. And like I said, I want to write these off the stronger foundation that I've built with doing comedy for this long. And I will start with, I'll start with this one. I don't know if I mentioned that I'm a big fan of Elon Musk. I have a huge heart-on for Elon Musk. If they made porn stars that looked like him, I would super be into porn, you know what I mean? That's like, well, I want a guy in porn that's got like that programmer's hunch, you know? That's the kind of guy I'm looking for. I really am. And it's funny, David, you're a snapper, and I wrote on my thing, Snapometer, because like I want to base my jokes now not on claps, but by how many snaps I get from you. Like, that's the only validation I want tonight, is like, am I good enough for the movement of the snap? Okay. You're laughing, but you're not snapping, goddammit. I don't care about those laughs. Okay, I can't demand the snap. It goes against all the snap principles. Okay, anyway, so I'm a big, oh man, I should remove this. Okay, let's do that. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Elon Musk. And I read this thing about him, and he said that he thinks that actually Earth might just be a petri dish for a really intelligent alien species, and maybe that would explain why we haven't found other intelligent life in the solar system, right? And I was like thinking about that, and I was like, man, if I'm just a science project for a really smart alien species, I want to be the best fucking human, you know? Like, I want to be a superstar human so that when they show me off at the science fair, they're like, oh my God, we made Earth. And you know what? That Michelle Christine, she took some risks. And then everyone's going to be like, wow, we really liked her. And then I realized I have more motivation in the scenario of us being a petri dish for an alien species than if God was real. Like, that's so fucked up, but it's true. Because God's just like, you know what? If you apologize for your sins, we'll let you all into heaven. And I'm like, that's just not, that's not a challenge, you know? That's really, it's not though. It's a bit too mainstream. Like I want to be the gold ribbon of Earth, you know? That's kind of what I'm looking for in a science fair. And just tick, okay. So I think that had something. There was something there. Oh, okay. This one I don't know if there's something, but I'm going to try it anyway. I'll play a lot of video games. And I went to Toronto like the other weekend, and me and my friends met up and we played Mario Golf. It's an old school game for the Nintendo GameCube. But if you played Halo growing up or whatever games, or if you even played a sport a lot or something like that, this is kind of what I'm trying to reach out to you, is that we played Mario Golf with the hardest characters on the hardest course, even though we hadn't played it together in years. And we were frustrated the entire time, and we were getting like bogeys and double bogeys. But there was just no way we were going to play on the easy courses with like, we couldn't admit to ourselves that our skill level is declining. Do you know what I mean? So like, and like as I get older and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to go to the bar. I'm like, start the night off with some shots. Like, let's do that. It's okay. I'm pushing 30. It's shots time, baby. Shots. Oh, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to get a burrito. Why? Because I'm fucking, you know, I'm just like, I'm 21 years old, you know? And then, but then the next day, I'm like so sick. And I was like, why did I do that? But it's because I don't want to admit to myself that I'm getting older and my body's declining with age, you know? And so one time I used to judge women that were like 40 and they were dressing like they were 20. And I was like, what the fuck are they doing? They're dressing like they're 20. They're 40 years old. But it's like, I can't judge that woman because I'm still playing Mario Golf on hard. Do you know what I mean? Okay. I think some people are coming around to that. Okay. So it's not an easy one, but I like it. Okay. Well, should we start there? Okay. I've never wanted to murder somebody until today, and I'll explain why. Met my lawyer. I'm trying to get my O1 artist visa so I can do stand-up comedy professionally here. That's what I want to get. I got one clap, and I'm happy for you, sir. But in order to get it, I had to pay $5,000 US to a lawyer today. $5,000, and he wanted it in cash, right? He wanted it in cash so that I handed it to him, and he counted up all of the $100 bills and was just like, I just love the feeling of money. And then he put it into a drawer. And then I saw on his like computer screen like the inner workings of a watch. And I was like, oh, are you repairing a watch? And he's like, no, this is the watch that I just bought. And he scrolled up and he's like, this watch was $45,000. And I wanted to murder him at that moment. I was like, you can afford a $45,000 watch and you charged me $5,000 for a visa? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, this guy has so much money, he doesn't even know what to do with it, right? And you know what he said to me after? He's like, oh, I just bought the watch because of you. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, you know how you were complaining about how the Canadian dollars crashed and it cost you so much money to buy the $5,000 US? Well, my money's in US, so I thought maybe I should buy the watch in Canadian dollars to save myself a couple grand. And I was like, glad I could help, man. I'm glad I could help. Oh my God. So there we go. There's that. All right, that was okay. All right. So I watched the Emmys the other day. I didn't watch a lot of it, but I watched the award for best writing. Okay, and there was a bunch of different TV shows, and the one that won was best writing for Game of Thrones. And I love Game of Thrones. Great show, fantastic show. But the author of the books, like George R.R. Martin, didn't win the Emmy for best writing. It was two writers that created a plot that already existed, where the best lines of the show were verbatim from the book, and the writers who created original shows with original characters and lines just got to clap for these people. And I thought, like, imagine I had like a Netflix special And it was just like, wow, we really loved Michelle's take on Louis C.K.'s Chewed Up. She just fucking, those lines that were his were the best ones she said. Good for her. We're giving her the fucking Emmy. Good for, and Chris Rock's just like ready to blow his brains out. Okay, that had some legs. That had some legs. Petri dish. Okay, see, this joke I want to work more than it does, but I did an undergraduate degree in environmental studies, and it's really hard writing like environmental studies jokes because at their core, not terribly funny, okay? But you guys know what fracking is, right? Most people know what fracking is, right? Okay. So, and if you don't know, don't feel bad. It's just like a process to get natural gas from deep within the earth by kind of fracturing rock and putting a lot of toxic chemicals into kind of like the water stream, the underground water stream. So people can light their well waters on fire that live close to fracking wells, and it also increases seismic activities. There's earthquakes happening around these sites. So it's very frightening. And this 92-year-old woman in this small town got her town behind banning fracking in her small town. And everyone was like, yeah, let's ban fracking. This was in Texas. And the governor overturned the ban, saying they did not have the power to ban fracking. So this little 92-year-old woman started picketing, not even a parking ticket to her name in 92 years, and she got arrested. And it's just like, oh my God, that hurts my soul. So I'm on Reddit, and I'm reading through some articles, and one was, fracking company creates pink drill bits in support of breast cancer. And I was like, wow, what's next? Marlboro pink. The more people who get cancer, the more people are aware of cancer. Smoke up for your sisters and mothers. Like, oh my God, what is the world turning into? You know what I mean? Okay, that had some legs. I know they're not all, like, I know this is like so random, but like, these are my thoughts for the past 2 months. Okay. This is another tough one. This one's a bit dark. So the migrant crisis is happening right now, okay? Millions of people are being displaced. And the core of it is actually climate change. They don't really want you to know that. But what happened is there's a mega drought going on in Syria. A lot of farmers lost their land. So a bunch of millions of broke and destitute farmers went into big cities. And it really caused a lot of overpopulation in those cities. They were desperate. They were wondering why the government wasn't helping them. And then kind of the more well-off people were pro-government. The poor people were anti-government. They're all living together in this hotbed, overcrowded population in cities. They start fighting, and then now there's this giant war. So not only are they broke, but they don't have food, and it's violent. So en masse, they've been just leaving, and they've been going to like Turkey and getting in these like dinghy boats to try to get to Greece. And like a lot of them are sinking, and there's dead children just washing up on shore. And nobody in America cares because it's really hard to cross the Atlantic Ocean. Too dark. Okay, too dark. Okay. That was a not in my backyard joke, just for the record. Naughty. Okay, that one was bad. Okay. So I take the bus a lot. I'm cheap. And I wanted to go to Flappers. It's a comedy club in Burbank for an open mic. And so I took the bus and paid the $1.75, traveled for half an hour, and then the bus was running a bit slow, and I see the transfer bus take off. And I was like, fuck, I just missed it. And it took an hour and a half kind of to go walking, and I only had 40 minutes to get there for the show. So naturally, I just went to the Mexican restaurant beside me to ask strangers for a ride to Burbank, like we all would do in that scenario, right? As we all would do. So I go inside the Mexican restaurant, and I was like, okay, single white dude, looks kind of nerdy. He's the one. Walk up to him, and I was like, hey, I got halfway on the bus, and I just missed my transfer. It's 9 minutes. Can you please take me to Flappers? And he's like, no, I just live around the block. And I was like, okay. And then I saw these two Spanish people, or these people speaking Spanish, sitting down. And they're two young guys, and I went up to them, and I was like, hi, like, I'm so sorry, like, I'm Michelle, and I'm Canadian, and I missed my bus transfer to go to my comedy show, and, like, would you please take me to Flappers when you're done your meal? And they're like, of course we will, like, please sit with us. And then their food came, and they shared it with me, and they were the sweetest people, and then they drove me to Flappers, and I got there for, in my opinion, when honestly the minorities have been the nicest people to me since moving to Los Angeles. Like, white people, step up your game a little bit. But it was so sweet. And I told my mom that story and she almost lost her mind. She's like, every gray hair on my body, I attribute to you being my daughter. And I was like, well earned, Mom, well earned. Okay, hopefully one day I'm famous and I can pay for a nice home for you. But anyway, she's going to be so crazy when she's older. But anyway, so then I was walking down Hollywood Boulevard after after an open mic. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. I was by myself. And this guy drove up and stopped beside me and was like, hey, do you want to ride? And I was like, no, I'm okay. And he's like, but I'm an Uber. And I was like, I know, but I didn't call you. So that's really a problem for me. And then some people are like, well, if you took the ride with those 2 Mexican people, why wouldn't you take the ride with the guy who offered it to you? But those are 2 very different scenarios, right? Like I proposed myself to these guys. Like they were like, hey, you know what we should do? We should go get some tacos and then hope that a white Canadian girl walks up to us. Then we could just fucking murder her. No, of course not. But this guy who pulled up and offered me a ride definitely already knew where he was going to bury my body. Like, there's no way that he did not know that. Okay, cool. You guys like that a little bit. No snap, but that's all right. The snap-o-meter's still at 0, but we're gonna be okay. And my mom, I was actually talking about her. My mom, she's a lesbian, and she came out after 30 years of marriage, which was obviously a pretty crazy thing to happen in my family. And I was the one that actually figured it out. Because did you hear the Canadian that? Out, drought, I don't know. I'm just going to figure it out. Anyway, this is why, okay? When we were growing up, she's like, she liked to wear my dad's pants because she said they fit better. Okay, that's a clue. That's a for sure clue. She never talked to me about boys. She never wore makeup. But the biggest flag was when she got really into this show about Bad Girls, which is a show about women in prison. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. And then she got really into the forum of fans of the Bad Girl show. And then she told me she was going to meet a bunch of the women from the forum in Niagara Falls. And I was like, wait, so you're going to meet a bunch of strangers from the internet in like a third location? Like, isn't that what you raised me never to do? Like, what's going on here? She went there and came back and showed pictures of just her and this one other woman. And so I was sitting on the couch with her and I was like, okay, Mom, like A, B, C, D, E, F, like, are you a lesbian and is Brenda your partner? And she's like, yeah. I was like, fuck, I nailed that. Like, wasn't that fuck? Who here has outed a parent? That's originality. I was so popular at school with that story. It like was really entertaining for people for a while. But then of course, my first thing though was like, does Dad know? Right after I was, after I stopped gloating about how good of a detective I had been. But anyway, and she's like, yeah, like I told your father that I had tendencies. I was like, okay, tendencies. Like, did you tell him that you kind of like the look of breasts or that after 30 years of marriage, you're going to leave him for another woman? Like, I don't know how clear you were about your tendencies. And my dad didn't take it very well, so he started going to Cuba on vacation. He really likes the Latina ladies. He's got a soft spot for them. And I knew he was going to come back and be like, I found a woman. And he did. About 6 months later, he's like, Michelle, I found a girlfriend, and she's 20 years younger than me, and she doesn't speak English, but, like, I think she's the one. And I was like, fuck, just like, fuck. And I was like, oh, my God, this woman's going to bankrupt my father, right? 20 years younger? There's no way. And then I realized she's not going to bankrupt my father. A North American woman 20 years younger would bankrupt my father. Like, her idea of romance is when my dad brought her soap. So I don't really think it's gonna bankrupt my father. Cool. I think I might have got a few snaps on that one. I'm happy. Okay, so healthcare in Canada is free. I know that you guys, like, you're American, and I wanted to move to America, so I don't want to shit on America in any way. But God damn it, you need a universal healthcare system. You do. I was watching, oh my God, I was actually on a Reddit thread, and someone posted the question, like, have you ever not gone to the doctor because you know it would cost money? And the first comment is definitely yes. And that makes me sad. Like, it really does make me sad. Anyway, so before I came here, I got like a physical because I knew it would be free. And what's a physical is for women is involves like a pap smear. Do you guys ladies know what that is? Okay, good, good. I was like, okay, please tell me that you girls have gotten pap smears, even if they cost a bit of money. Okay, cool. All right, so anyways, I go to get my pap, and I tell my doctor that I do stand-up comedy, and his first question was, tell me a joke. That's what, every time you say that to something, so I came prepared. And I was like, oh, I knew I was ovulating today because I was looking forward to my pap with my doctor. And he was like, he was this little Asian man, and I told him the creepiest thing a white woman has ever said to him, for sure, right before he was going to put something in my vagina. Bad timing, bad timing. So he just shoves that thing in there, twirls it around real quick, and like for a week I was like, oh my God, I have a scab on my cervix. This is the worst, right? And it was my birthday. So instead of having sex with my boyfriend, he gave me a birthday beating with a D, not a T. He busted out the anal beads for the third time ever in our relationship. He's a programmer. He is shy, okay? So I'm bent over, and he's popping these beads in my butt, okay? And then he... Hey, you were talking about rim jobs. How is this grossing you out? Okay, anyways. And then he comes. And I don't know if this happens to you guys. Are you ever like kind of watching porn and you come and you're like ashamed at how kind of gross the porn was that you were watching? You're just like, oh God, like midgets. I really never thought I'd be here right now. Like an octopus, what am I doing? Right? So anyway, he comes and then he just looks down at my butt and he's like, so do you want to take out the beads? And I was like, are you like fucking kidding me right now? Like, there needs to be a gentleman's agreement that whatever you put in a woman's body, you must remove. Like, can we not get behind that? I don't even care. It's not that Hugh Grant did not know how to do that at all. Okay, what else? So I think I've almost hit everything up on this list. Okay, well this is just a quick one. I know that I'm getting older because my nightmares are that I didn't freeze my eggs in time. Like that's like life as a I know. Like I'm really afraid because they're so good right now. They're so healthy. And they're just getting worse and worse. It's like this ticking time bomb that's degrading. But what's degrading is like their health for your future children. And that's like the most important thing that you could ever do. You know what I mean? Like I just wish I was free to freeze your eggs because I want to meet some guy when I'm 40 and be like, hey, he's like, oh, you're 40, you're all right. And I was like, yo, but my eggs, they're still cooking on 25. Do you know what I mean? Okay, that had something. Okay, lawyer outing. My mom got that. Okay. All right, I guess I'll wrap this baby up. I had a going away party before I left, and there was a girl there, and I didn't know her too well, and she was 28. And she's like, oh, I just went to my sister's wedding on the weekend. And I was like, oh, how old was your sister? And she's like, oh, she was 22. And I was like, oh, are you guys like really religious? And she's like, yeah, we are. Because usually people don't get married that young anymore unless they're saving themselves for marriage, right? So a lot of religious people are getting married kind of young. But this girl hasn't met the right one, and she's 28. So I was like, wait a minute, are you still a virgin? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, man, like, isn't it hard to meet a guy when you're like 28 and you meet a 30-year-old and you're like, we got at least 2 years before you're putting that up in here. And he's just like, well, you know what? There's girls just giving it away. I mean, I've got a lot of years experience. I'm pretty good at fucking at this point. So that's kind of hard for her, right? Anyways, so I was like, well, do you at least like masturbate? And she's like, no, that's also against the rules. And I was like, wait. You're telling me you're 28 years old and you've never had an orgasm before? And she's like, no. And I was like, man, I would never believe in a religion that did that to me. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, who the fuck? Well, I don't need to because we're just a petri dish, right? We're just a petri dish. And I'm Michelle Christine, and I take a lot of risks. Guys, thank you so much for coming to my 3rd anniversary of comedy. Honestly, you don't know how much it means to me that you came. Like, Like, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I know every single one of you, and you all made it a show. You made it the best show I've done in Los Angeles by far. And I really, from the bottom of my heart, thank each and every one of you for taking a chance on me. Thank you so much.